I'm not going to get any sleep, but at least I will not wake up by 4 a.m. So a win is a win. We'll make the most of what it is that we have. You're tuned into Women Radio 91.7 FM. This is Radio Doctor, your free health consultation program where real doctors advise real people. Radio Doctor is Nigeria's first specialized radio health program that happens on radio, where medical doctors consult for free and give free tests. You already know who's on ground. The only person that this
I've
morning
not
we
heard that intro before.
we have our in-house for the Christmas. Woohoo! Santa Claus in the house. Dr. Abiola Jai. Good
And I
morning.
think
How are you doing this week?
I'm doing great. I think we'll continue that. I'm still in the holiday spirit, so stay tuned today.
Hey, me,
Stay tuned today.
me. I did not redeem my own price last week. I didn't come to the office last week, but let's no this week.
I'll keep it for you. Don't worry.
Yes, yes, yes. Hopefully, I can come next week and see. You already know that Dr. Abiola is the MD CEO of ROA Specialist Hospital, and this morning we are going to be talking. I mean, it's a follow-up conversation, really. Importance of Pap smear
Exactly.
and HPV screening. Because last week, what did we do? We talked about cervical cancer. So, and we touched on these, but today we're going to be really, really dwelling on the importance of pap smear and HPV screening. You already know we are live on YouTube at WFM 917. You can listen to us on the go, www.wfm917.com. Again, this is Women Radio 91.7. Right about now is 6 minutes after 10. I did not say my name. My name is Fumi Bangola, and your host on Radio Doctor this morning. 07000 917 Those are the numbers to call in case you have a question for Dr. Abiola. If you don't have credits, we got you. 0800 1235 917. That is the number to call if you don't have credits. With text or WhatsApp, it is 08155 917 or 0703 1756 537. Now that that is out of the way, Dr. Abiola, let's get into it. What exactly is a pap smear and what is HPV screening? Are they the same? Are they different? We touched on it last week, but today, like I said, we are dwelling. Yes, please go
Yes,
ahead.
we didn't go into depth, so I'm happy we're having this follow up. One
Mhm.
thing about last week, I forgot to mention that both men and women can get the cervical cancer vaccine because
Huh,
we only
okay.
talked about women really on that side,
Women.
but both men and women, the ideal age is between 9 and 14 can get cervical cancer vaccine because it will also protect them against penile cancer cells or even, God forbid, cancer cells. The HPV test is to look for the virus, human papillomavirus, that causes cervical cancer, right? So good way of looking at it is the pap smear looks at current disease, and the HPV is looking for future disease.
Okay.
One is testing the cells to see if they've already been affected, and the other one is to test do you have the virus that could cause you problems in the future.
So that's why both of them are important then.
Yes, very important.
Okay. For so cervical cancer is one of the most common cancers affecting women. We have breast cancer, and I think that I know for women. But why is it the most common one?
It's the fourth most common cancer in women. I have some statistics. Over 8,000 Nigerian women die every year from cervical cancer, and there's about 14,000 new cases every year
Oof.
that we've documented. And worldwide, it's about almost a half a million deaths. So it's
Hmm.
very significant cancer. It's one of the main reasons why it's so prevalent is because the screening is so low. And in the U.S., over the last 4 decades, they've been able to reduce not just cervical cancer, but yeah, no, sorry, it was cervical cancer. They were able to reduce it by 70% over 40 years. And they estimate that only 10% of Nigerians have ever been tested or exposed to the test. So we have a lot of work to do in that area.
Right, right, right. So you mentioned 8 to 14. That's the age a
Nine
woman should,
9 to 14 is the
9 to
range.
14. So that's when you should start thinking about the pap smear. the cervical cancer vaccine.
Vaccine, exactly.
But what age should a woman start thinking about the pap smear screening or the HPV screening?
I would say from age 21. So from age
Okay.
21, you should start doing pap smears every 3 years if they're normal, and then the HPV testing can start. So I'll give you in the U.S. we say pap smears from 21, HPV testing from 30, from age 30. But in Nigeria, I would just do everybody from 21 because there's
Right.
so much exposure. There's very little screening. So I would recommend everybody at least from 21 start doing HPV and pap smear. You can actually do both tests at the same time. You can collect one sample and use that one sample for both tests. So
Right.
it's and we'll
Okay.
talk about
So it's
how
not
the
like you
test
have to do one test
two separate
for
tests.
separate. Oh, okay.
Mhm. Well,
Okay.
you're gonna pay for the two of them if you're paying out of
Yeah,
pocket, right?
well,
Yes, a pap smear is a separate cost from the HPV test, but you can do both with one sample.
right. You cannot do two for one. Mm-mm.
This is 2026. Nobody's doing two for one.
Nobody's doing two for one. I mean, sure. Okay. So many women say, I mean, this is not just many women, a lot of us as Nigerians, we say, I feel fine, nothing is wrong with me, I'm okay, my vaginal discharge is fine, and all of that. But why is screening still important even without symptoms? Because I remember last week you had said that you had treated someone who had come in at the very end where her cervix had turned into a giant ball of meat. That's how you explained it, yes.
Oh
But
my goodness, you remind me.
that's how you explained it, though, Dr. Adela.
Yeah,
I was paying attention.
yeah, very
So,
good.
but but why is screening really important? Because some people might say, oh, that's an extreme case, right? But can you walk us through maybe the different levels or why it's important regardless of symptoms? You mentioned it last week, but can you just give us more details?
Of course. This is one of the most important points, and it's probably going to be one of the hardest things to change in terms of Nigerians' mental approach to this. Is that there may be no symptoms for a very long time. By the time you feel symptoms of maybe bleeding or you see some bloody discharge or even have pain, the disease has gone very, very far. And that's
Mm,
why we see, especially in this environment where we don't screen for it, that's why we see so many deaths from advanced cervical cancer. If
right.
it's just limited to the cervix or the uterus, you may not notice anything.
Okay.
You may not know anything. But when maybe it starts spreading to the bone, we're not talking about stage 4 cancer. Spread to the bone, maybe then you start feeling some pain. Or by the time you start seeing discharge, is at least stage 3, stage 4. So it's we always talk about the silent killers like hypertension, high blood pressure, and all the rest. This is one of those things that can creep up on you, and this is why screening is so very, very important.
Hmm. And the screening, is it painful? What is there a step? You said last week that it's just like a swab, isn't it? But then women are afraid at the same time. So can you take us through like a step by step of how it happens when you get to the hospital? This is what they will do. Da 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 da.
Yeah. When you get to the hospital, of course, you would have an appointment for the test, but it's just like a regular female gynecology exam. It literally doesn't take that long. So you're lying down in the stirrups. They're going to put a speculum to expose your cervix, and then there's a brush, a very small, soft brush that is just spun around the cervix just to get some cells, and then the brush is removed, and that's it. So it's not painful. It's just a little mild discomfort from the speculum and this and that, but it's nothing most women haven't gone through already.
Okay, but what about the results? How soon do the results come? Are they immediate or they take a bit of time?
The fastest is 48 hours for the pap smear, but typically I tell patients 1 week. Under a week, we should have both results. Average for the HPV test is 7 to 10 days. The HPV test is separate from the pap smear.
Oh, so if it's a
It
pap
depends on the
smear,
center. Yeah, it depends on the center. Some places can do it in 48 hours for the pap smear. Some may take up to 5 days, which is fine.
Oh, right. Okay. So when the results come out, if it is negative, what happens? And if it is obviously if it is positive, that means that you're clear. Hmm? Is it negative or
No, no, the
positive?
opposite, the opposite, the opposite, the other way
Sorry,
around. So
yeah,
if
so
it's
if it is
negative, negative is
negative,
good.
negative is good. So
Right.
negative is good, positive is bad. So if it is good, then how long should the person come wait to come back for another test? If it is bad, what's the process? Is there a procedure? Is it a case of is bad, then it means that you have cancer, or is bad and we can still catch the cancer? Or it's not even
So
cancer?
very good. So, we're talking about two tests, Pap smear and HPV.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if your Pap smear is, let's say, positive, it
Mm-hmm.
means that they saw precancerous cells or cancerous cells. So I would want to look um, for that. If they're precancerous cells, sometimes we just use a laser or a special blade and cut off part of just shave off the face of the cervix and send that for testing. But if they're cancerous cells, the next thing you want to do is see how far is this cancer spread. So you're going to do something like an MRI or a CT scan just to
Okay.
look at lymph nodes and things like that. And then after that, plan surgery to cut the cancer out. If it's not spread beyond the cervix, I would next thing be go and cut it out.
What's the timeline supposed to be like? Is should the person wait so long? So today is Friday 23rd. The person does the test today. They're coming back maybe in February because next week we're ending wow, this is the shortest January that ever January do.
It flew by.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yes. So they come maybe first week in February for the result, and then they find out that there's a little bit of maybe cancerous cells there. What's the timeline from the first week in February? I think my timing is good, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yes, the timing is good. So you find out the first week in February. If you are motivated, you can be have surgery within 2 weeks.
Right.
So that I for those kind of things, cancer, I always preach don't wait. So once we've identified that surgery is a curative, like can actually cure the cancer, I'd say as soon as the person is stable enough, do the surgery because
Sorry, what as long
you
as they're
always
stable enough, is
they're
it
stable
meant to
enough.
be
Well, I take into account all of that, but we start physically. So maybe person may also have high blood pressure or high blood sugar. You want to
right?
stabilize that before putting them on the operating table. If they have
Okay.
any active infections, treat those. And then if they're mentally, and I have some people that have been mentally couldn't get their head around going for surgery, so I'll just bring them in 2, 3 times before the surgery. Still continue to explain, answer questions, just make them more comfortable. And usually we get that.
Right, right. And then if they wait too long, because I mean, I can only imagine that this is expensive to do that kind of surgery would be expensive. So it's like, I need to get my money. I don't have money. Am I going to crowdfund? Am I going to do GoFundMe? Am I going to ask from family and friends? What is there a timeline between when you should have done it and when it gets too late to do it?
Yeah, so too late means that it has spread outside the cervix and has gone to
Mm.
other organs.
And
So
there's no timeline. There's no you can't calculate the spread. Basically, is what you're saying.
only God can. We can predict so that MRI, if that scan, after we see cancer cells maybe on a Pap smear, we're going to do a high resolution scan like an MRI or a CT. If we see, and usually you can see cancer cells, they look different on the picture. So if it's just a small portion of the cervix that's involved, that person will have a lot more time than if you see the entire cervix or even a little bit of the uterus involved, because the cancerous cells kind of march along like an army, so they don't jump about. They a lot of times they will spread to the organs and tissues around the cancer. Once they hit a lymph vessel or a blood vessel, then they can start jumping and spreading. But usually they've eaten up a tremendous amount of real estate before then. So that kind of person, if you see that the cancer is like to the edge, is getting close to lymph nodes or the uterus, then that person would have less time. But for
Mm.
me, I always talk to the patient, just do it as soon as possible. I've had somebody wait 8 months, and 8 months was too late. and
Why
that's
did
the
they
best.
wait? Money?
They stubbornness because when she crowd sourced, family sourced funds, everybody agreed to pay, and then she just decided, you know, that she wasn't going to do it. By the time I saw her 8 months later, she came in a wheelchair. She was bloated,
Oh my.
cancer had spread.
Oh my.
Um, did surgery, opened up. Cancer was everywhere, on all every intestine, on the liver, on the bowel wall, on the peritoneal, everywhere. Little seeds, and we did the best we could. You can't remove all the intestines and liver and all of that. You don't have a human being anymore. We did the best we could, cleaned everything out, closed her. She died a month later. That's the difference.
That's,
That's why that story captures why screening is so important. If you catch these things early, that person continues to live for decades. But wait, and then now her life is just short. And she died at age 52, between
um,
52 and 55. Too young.
as a diversion, well, not so much of a diversion. Is it possible that one of the reasons why people are, Oduduwa, are hesitant to are hesitant to doing the test or doing the surgery is a spiritual, is it spiritual, their faith? Oh, I believe God will heal me and things like that. Is that one of the reasons why people are hesitant to do it, or it's just a case of no, I'm not doing it, or is it because they are afraid that if they do they might not come out? Because in these parts people just believe that if they go into surgery at any hospital they're not going to come back the same, they're probably going to die and things like that. What are the can you give us a wide range of reasons why a person who has been told that they have cancerous cells might be stubborn?
I have seen all the scenarios more often than not that you described. I have a
Mm.
lot of people that just feel, oh, God will do it. God will do it. And I try to tell them, God has done it by putting you in front of me and me finding it and pointing it to you and giving you a
Yeah.
plan. That's God. That's God working. God can't come down and talk to you himself. But I just do my best with those. But I see that a lot. I see that a lot. I can see that probably one in every 4 or 5 patients
Mm.
that are diagnosed with cancer. I also see them. A lot of people are afraid of dying on the operating table for good reason. It happens. There's some protocols that I use for the 11 years that we've been open. Our ROA, we've never had anybody die in the theater during surgery.
Wow,
You know,
congratulations.
that's my lifelong achievement. That achievement, as long as it
How many
maintains,
years
I'll
now
put it
did
on
you
my
say?
tombstone. 11 next month.
Wow, that's a big
So
achievement.
and I know that's why all my hairs here are gray is because of the stress of picking good cases, educating the patients, doing a lot of pre-surgical workup, pre-surgical. Yeah, people are afraid. If somebody told me that I needed surgery, I'd be afraid.
I'm
I
not gonna
would.
lie. Maybe that's why I haven't come to do the pap smear. I'm not gonna lie. It's there because when you were speaking, I was like, yeah, that's why you didn't go. And it's not like I told myself I'm not going to go because of this. I think it was subconscious for me, like, God, I beg, I don't want to go. And there's that fear, but yeah, yeah, I'll be fine. Oh my gosh! But then I was also gonna ask that are people hesitant to say that they had a surgery because this society, the culture we live in, is not one that encourage is it yeah encourages people to say, oh, I went through this, is what I did, because the stigma is so heavy. Because when you mentioned you have a network of people, are there people who have you seen are open to speaking about, oh, I went for a pap smear, I was told I have some cancer cells, I did the surgery, I'm fine? Or is it very, very hush hush?
The majority of patients are very, very hush hush. As I'm speaking to you now, I have 2 cases of that. in the US, they teach us how to do surgery in a way where the patient can go home the same day or maybe the very next day. A lot
Yeah.
of the surgeries that I do are like that, where home maybe with a catheter, you come back in 2 weeks and we'll remove the catheter. Majority of patients in Nigeria will tell me, no, doc, I'm not going. So I'll go back to my house and people will be asking me and they'll be seeing this tube and say, that's the prevailing attitude that when if people hear that you went for surgery, you have to just come back perfect, and they really don't want to tell anybody, so they don't want any sign of it, any bandage. I have a child that's there just lying on the bed because of a bandage. Dad says nope, we want him to stay 5 days, just because they don't want him to have a bandage when he goes home. So because the neighborhood people will talk. I don't live my life by what neighborhood people would say. There's some advantages to leaving the hospital. There's some things called nosocomial infections, hospital
Okay.
infections you get from within the hospital. You're around sick people all the time. So when you're healthy enough, you're meant to go home. But the stigma keeps them from doing that.
Huh. So what's the way forward? Because this network you have, so obviously I'm thinking that the
And the
network
net
you're
is very small, and it's usually anonymous type testimonials. So sometimes they'll say, "I don't want my face to show. I don't want," I get a lot of that, or they don't want to do anything, interactive. They'll just write. I get that's the majority of people. They really don't want to discuss it.
But that's unfair. And I don't even mean to judge or anything, but if you've gone through something that somebody is currently going through, why wouldn't you want to? Because if you went through it and
And
didn't
you
have
had a
anybody
success.
telling
You
you,
had a successful outcome. Like
yeah, because I'm sure that you yourself would have wanted somebody to tell you this is what happened, is going to be okay. So if you didn't have that, why not be that to somebody else? Yeah, it's the culture that we live in.
the culture, exactly, exactly. I'm
Okay.
I'm praying that we'll slowly get there.
Slowly is we're going to drag. We're going to drag because I remember seeing a post on social media, I think this week, where one a popular doctor was talking about the 7 layers the doctor has to cut through for a cesarean section. And even in the comment section, I still saw people saying and I was like, yeah, what exactly is, are you people okay? The doctor was trying to debunk a myth that when you say women who have cesarean sections are lazy, then I don't think you really understand what you're talking about. And when he did it, I'm just like, why are people still thinking that these women are lazy? This is not
Lazy.
laziness. Like it
Yeah.
takes a lot of guts for you to say you want to have a life altering surgery to bring your baby to the world, whether it is elective, whether it is compulsory, whether it was your hands are tied. Like, and I think the reason is because we have turned, how do I explain this? We say vaginal birth is natural birth. So I think that's where
Yeah.
language is so important, because when you keep on
Oh,
saying,
stigma.
oh,
Still
I wanted to,
stigma.
it was a natural, oh, I didn't have a natural birth, I had the cesarean section. I don't understand, what does that mean? There's only two types of birth, there's vaginal or cesarean. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
so I think
And they're all
language
and they're all
is
natural. All human beings involved is all natural.
like, I don't even understand. Okay, that was a diversion, so just
No problem. No
my
problem.
okay. Okay, so if when women are coming to the hospital and they are scared, I mean, we've talked about that, and they keep on postponing beyond, telling them, look, this is what it is there a, like, how do we get women like me to say, you know what, leave the fear alone, just come do the screening, whatever happens. I think it's the whatever happens that people are afraid of, like the aftermath of it. But is there a, how are you able to encourage a woman to say, don't postpone, just come out? It's just, this is the screening or not even the surgery.
Hmm.
Is there a
Um,
process?
I've been trying to find the answer to that all the time because I really believe in screening. I cajole, I beg, like, look, do it for your good. But majority of the time, I usually stress the outcomes, the negative outcomes. Sometimes I have a big monitor in my office. I'll put pictures of nasty cancers, or I'll put
True.
a diagram and show all the places, like even for people that don't want to take the diabetic advice, like, oh, do you know all the organs diabetes affects? And I'll show a picture. So I try everything because I believe in it. It's so important. And if I have to come and carry you, kidnap you, you'll do it.
Okay.
I'll send I'll
Okay.
send I'll send some armed guards to grab you.
Okay. Are there places where women can get pap smear and HPV screening done? Maybe public hospitals, especially for women who cannot, because money, we have to be realistic. I know that
Uh-huh.
money is also a thing as well, because you might say, oh, it's just XYZ amount of money, and the person is like, I don't have that just that you're talking about. So are there other places that people can get this screening done who can't afford private hospitals?
Yes, the first place I would say teaching hospitals, you know,
Okay.
and then FMCs, federal medical centers, even the general hospitals, any of the hospitals affiliated with government should have at least a pap smear. And the ones I visited have pap smears. I would have to ask questions about the HPV, but I
Okay.
don't doubt it. And that's the low cost. That's the low cost part of it. And there's some NGOs and outreach, like I do Hope Medical Mission, some outreach at times, and sometimes people do it free.
Right.
But it's the HPV test that may be a little bit more expensive, but almost everybody should be able to afford a pap smear.
Was the average amount of money for a pap smear?
I would say between 5 and 10K. That's
Oh,
at a
okay.
private hospital.
What about for
Um,
HPV? Is that at a private
HPV,
hospital? The
that's
five
at
to
a
ten.
private. Yeah, well, yes, I would say at some private hospitals or small private labs, 5 to 10K.
Okay.
Then
What about the HPV?
the HPV maybe in some areas up to 50. So don't
Ah,
quote me on that, but
so
about
HPV is the one
it's
something papillo.
looking for the yes human papillomavirus. So that test
Right.
is looking for the we said it before. At least 95% of cervical cancer is caused by HPV, and some studies think it's 99%. And out of the 100 subtypes, there are a few that are the ones that like to cause cancer more frequently. So that's what that HPV test is looking for, those common ones. It doesn't look for
Hmm.
all 100, but it looks for the common ones that are
Hmm.
associated with cervical cancer.
Hmm. Okay. And then the pap smear is just looking for.
Cells, so you're looking for signs of cancer, whether it's precancer or cancer.
Right. They sound the same, but they are not.
But they're not, yes, they're
I know,
similar, they're related, but they're not the same.
but they are not. And both of them go hand in hand. Like you can't do a pap smear without HPV, vice versa.
Yeah, you can't do no. You can do either one. You're using the same brush. So if you want to take sample and just do Pap smear, or you want to take sample and just do HPV test, that's your prerogative.
Right. Okay. Okay. If you could give Nigerian women one message today about pap smear and HPV screening, I mean, you've been saying it from the start of the show. What should they never forget?
They should never forget that screening saves lives, and early detection is paramount. Early detection can give you early treatment, can save lives and money. Everybody's worried about money. It's far more expensive to treat end stage cancer than it is to just treat some precancerous cells. So, and the other thing is, don't think that doing the test is going to give you a positive result. Just by doing the test doesn't mean it gives you the disease. A lot of people kind of feel that way, and if I don't go, I'll never have it.
What
Right?
you don't know will not kill you. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
which doesn't make sense. By the time you find out, your body starts showing you it's often too late. And a lot of those women don't live 3 years from that day.
Oh dear God. Okay, so, HPV is the one that you say is it's only sexually transmitted, right?
Intimate skin to skin contact, sexually
Intimate
transmitted.
skin skin.
Yes.
So this one can be gotten from blades or needles or anything like that.
I'm sure you can get anything from a needle, but the primary mode of transmission is through sexual acts and skin to skin contact.
So if you're a
You
woman
know,
who believes,
if I took a needle and dipped it in HPV virus vial and then I now inject, yeah, you'd get it. You know,
no, right?
but and another thing we never mentioned is that the average person, 90% of people will clear an HPV infection. So, for example, if one person is exposed to somebody else sexually that has HPV, they will get the virus. But your
Mm.
immune system yeah, it just takes one contact. So um, as little as one contact can transmit the virus. But your immune system typically clears it. It may take a few years, but it typically clears it in about anywhere
Uh,
from 1 to 3 years. The majority of people clear it. But there a lot of people will get it, and we're talking about different types. Some people can have it silent in their body for 10 years or more. So, which is why screening is still more important. Imagine getting exposed; it's been there for 10 years. You could have done something about it, and by the time you now see the effects, it's too late.
just so that I understand what you're saying, it can be in the body for about 10 years, but then when it finally it manifests itself as cancer.
Yes, it manifests itself as cancer, and you still won't feel anything. And you still won't
Huh.
feel anything. Yes, and the cancer will keep growing and growing and growing. And then when you now feel something or see blood or anything significant, it has gone too far. It's too late. It's spread to other organs. You're now
Hey.
talking about metastatic disease, and you're measuring your life expectancy in months, not years.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, kids, there you have it. um, don't have sex, basically.
That's
Or
one
do it with
option.
protection. I mean, because at the end of the day, if somebody thinks that they have a partner who's faithful to them, so you're saying that that's why it's important to screen as a lady because you don't know where the other person has been.
Mhm. So even if you're now in a committed relationship, you don't know where if your partner's previous sexual encounters had exposed them, man or woman. So unless
Mhm.
you're both virgins and you're in a monogamous relationship, really, because 80% of 80% of sexually active adults will be exposed to HPV virus in their lifetime. 50% of sexually active men will be exposed to HPV.
Why
So
is it higher for women? Did you say 80% for female or
yes,
adult?
it's higher for women. For some reason, it's higher for women, and I don't know the answer to that. But it's almost like inevitable that if you have sexual partners, you have a very good chance of being exposed to the HPV virus. So it just means screening is even that more important. I want to
Hmm.
keep saying that. So in case a listener just tunes in, they understand that screening is important.
Screening is very, very important. Screening is very
Very well.
important. Thank you so much, Dr. Bella, for
My
today's
pleasure.
episode, today's free consultation. Because even me, I feel I'm asking questions like I wasn't on the show last week, and I wasn't even asking you questions because it just feels like, huh? What are you talking about? But yeah, thank you for today's free consultation on the importance of Pap smear and HPV screening. Kids, screen actually female. I really hate female child, but please, if you're a woman out there, make sure you screen. It's not as expensive as I thought. It's 5 to 10K. If you have HMO, I'm sure it will be free on your HMO. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
most HMOs, all HMOs will pay for a pap smear. So
for pap smear. Okay, and then
yeah.
for HPV, please get to doing it. And last week, Dr. Villa gave us free pap smear test. Did people come from Women Radio last week, Dr. Villa?
Yes. Oh yes, I saw a few. Yes.
You people that don't used to call us, you will not call us on the show, but then you will go. I see. I will
Mhm.
catch you. You will not call. Well, I get it because I can understand why nobody would want to call to ask about this because, like we talked about, the stigma is sensitive.
Mhm.
But I mean, the moment you start talking about it, which is what we're doing right now, we begin to reduce the stigma or reduce the I don't know the spookiness of it. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, we reduce it. So yeah, again, thank you so much to Gabriella Dr. Bella is the MD CEO of ROA Specialist Hospital. For consultations, you can reach him on 0913-579-5108. I'm going to read the number. And for an appointment is 080-888-62635. I got it because I'm reading it. And then you can reach him on social media, ROA Specialist Hospital. Thank you so much, Dr. Biola. I hope you sleep this weekend. I know that weekends are sort of like busy for you, Abby.
Yes, but I think I'll have an easy weekend.
You have it, this one.
Enjoy yours too.
All right. This is still Women Radio. We have even more amazing shows for you on Women Radio 91.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Don't do what I wouldn't do. And remember to go screen yourself for pap smear screening and HPV screening. With that being said, do have a healthy day. Many thanks to my producer, Aisha Sani. Many thanks to Miriam, to Benjamin in the studio, to Michael in the studio, and many thanks to our executive producer, to Kiwali Shonaya. Do have a healthy day. I am Fumi Bangala. This is still Women Radio. Don't go anywhere.